We've got a drinking age, we've got a vaping age, we've got a driving age. Let's have a social media age where this empowers parents, because it also gives them the tools to be able to say, actually, it's not okay for you to be on social media.
The whole world's watching Australia because no one really knows what's going to happen, and there's good argument. It could actually make things worse if it drives children into worse parts of the internet and stops them wanting to talk to their parents about it.
Experts here say we need to do something.
We need to see the kind of laws that are happening offline, happening online. There's currently no accountability for platforms.
In Australia, they're hoping this will be the start of the good life and bring an end to the angst felt by parents watching their kids live their lives online.
This is going to be, everything's going to be okay now, apparently, Chewy. This is the start of the revolution. Look, I'll say it again. I used to play this piece of video. I can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head. It was about 10 years ago, so it was the millennials where the Gen Zs are now.
Yeah, I remember.
Talks about millennials in the workplace, and it talks about, it fires off the same synapses as things like cocaine and alcohol and, pornography does. So it's addictive, and we don't just throw open our liquor cabinet to our teenagers, and you're doing that with phones. So, look, I get it, and I absolutely think that the culture of what it is needs to change, but I don't know if just going no to teenagers is the way to do it anymore.
Teenagers, famously compliant to authority figures.
Rule followers, famous. So I don't know. It just
this reeks of other previous moral panics about video games or comic books throughout the generation. Every generation has had something that their parents' generation are freaking out about because they don't fucking understand it. Like, I am all for governments getting together and teaming up on the social media companies to police content that's on their platforms, to clamp down on misinformation and that sort of thing. But I think Pete in the comments said this runs smack dab into a clause in a Bill of Rights about the free exchange and sourcing of information. Like, it makes no sense. Like, the way that this is implemented, and I've seen somewhat of a version of this that the UK had in place when I was over there. I went in to log into Reddit, and it said that I had to verify my age. And here is your way to do it. Scan a copy of your passport. Do a facial scan. Provide your credit card details. Now, this was to an international company whose job it was to do that. Now, how is that information retained? I don't know. What is the protection that's put on that information? I don't know. Like, this seems sloppy, and especially when you look at Australia, by specifically naming social media platforms. They leave it open for everybody that is not named.
Yeah.
It's incredibly poorly put together. It's dubious whether it's effective. And I don't think it puts the social media platforms and companies themselves on enough of a hook to do a better job. Like, how many times have you seen something really egregious on, say, Facebook, and you hit that little report button, and 3 weeks to 4 months later, you find out that they've had a look at it and actually, no, it doesn't breach community standards. And I have had that from some of the most racist content that I have seen, the most violent content I have seen on that platform, doesn't breach community standards. I have never had a successful report on Facebook, ever. It's only when I've participated in something that is a mass pile-on, an organised pile-on on something to get it gone, that it ever works. So these social media companies don't care. The amount of misinformation, fake ads and scams that propagate on Facebook, seemingly without any sort of smackdown, like especially with the older people getting fucking scammed. You know, there's something needs to be done about social media. That's the core problem. And these companies are too big and too rich that they can actually get to the point where they just go, fuck off, government of small country, I don't care. You know, they're fiddling around the edges. They're not solving a problem.
Yeah. And look, like you just said, social media sites will pop up around the place if they're not already popping up, that then just get around that ban. Then all of a sudden, what do they say? Yope or something will be the biggest one in Australia. And then that'll get added to the list and they'll go to another one. And I'm not being defeatist. I do believe that restrictions and stuff can be in place. But equally, when she started to say things like, well, they had that one of the MPs, I guess, we have a drink, the national MP, we have a drinking age and we have a driving age. And guess what? Teenagers ignore most of those. Teenagers drink before they're 18. You know, like, so what do you say? We've got all these rules in place, and it's like, yeah, that they don't follow. So it's not the solution to go, we're just going to say no, and they're going to do it. But I also want to say that there are numerous cases, like seeing I'm an incredibly old person. You know, when I was at school in 1947, you'd get bullied at school, right? And then sort of that didn't really change, maybe the odd phone call to home. And then when the internet came out, you sort of, you could be accessed at home through email and stuff. But back in those days, you know, there was a family computer in a community space. And now it's just gone up another level, up another level, up another level, up another level. And now this is where you get bullied. So the thing you have in your pocket that you're addicted to that you can't not look at, oh my God, the number of times I've said to my kids, we've been sitting and having a family meeting, and I've said, turn your phone over, and made them do that so they couldn't see the screen lighting up.
No, see, Pat, that's where you're wrong. The government should tell you. The government should tell them. We want a nanny state. Remember, National famously loves a nanny state, and it's never gone mad.
Yeah.
You know, this is the whole thing, that this is a parent's job. A parent's job is to protect their kids, right? The state's job is to protect us from overseas corporations.
Yeah. Well, then,
so
but
why is the government cracking down on what kids do?
Well, I guess what they might say is that. So there's legislation in America. I don't know what it's called, but basically it's all over the world. It says that a platform is not responsible for the content that gets put on it. Change that. How much moderating do you think there'd be if Twitter was legally responsible for the words that were put on Twitter? The problem with some of the, like a radio station, for example, is legally responsible for views and opinions shared on that radio station. So here's one way around it. We've just got a solution. Say to these social media platforms, say to websites, say to whatever else there is, you are now responsible for the content on your site, even if it's put on by a different person. That would be a way to police this, because as soon as the libel, the racism, the human rights violations, the bullying, whatever, then you make them ultimately responsible for it.